staff. News Talk 630 and 99.7 FM WPRO presents Intellectual Medicine with Dr. Petteruti. Join Dr. Petteruti as he guides people towards living the 120 lifespan while retaining youth. He'll apply logic, reason, and scientific evidence to address conditions that have drained people of their joy and vitality while protecting people from the harmful aspects of conventional medicine. Now, here's Dr. Steve Petteruti.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome to our last show of 2017. Shannon, can you believe it's gone by so quickly?
I can't. A whole year already.
It's been a beautiful year. And thank you all for listening and making this show the great success that it's been, and making intellectual medicine the great success that it has been. Well, today, folks, we're going to warn you about a couple of things. That's our job here, is to keep you well informed. There's something in your refrigerator that can cause you to become demented and increase your risk of stroke. We're going to talk about that. There's something in your medicine cabinet that can increase your risk of death from heart attack. We're going to talk about that as well. And as always, we're going to try to tie together the big picture elements that are contributing to our lack of ideal health and discuss what we can do right now that's going to help make the biggest difference. And that's the role of intellectual medicine. In the field of medicine now, you notice things are moving in multiple directions. There's functional medicine, and there's big data that's happening. We're going to talk a little bit about that and fit it all together. But first, man, I hope everybody's surviving this cold. I find it kind of exciting, Shane. You know what I love about cold weather?
Warm weather? More?
Oh, you mean the contrast to warmth? No.
The thought that it will be here someday.
I think there's something about facing extreme cold that sharpens the mind. It makes you have to solve problems, helps to develop your intellect. I don't know, at least either that or I'm just making an excuse for some horrible weather. But we were up skiing this past few days up in northern Maine. The temperature, folks, on the mountain with wind chill, -80. -80. It was exciting. So we sat there looking out the window. Do you go out in that weather or do you just stay in? So I thought about it for a moment, and I thought, never again in my life will I have the opportunity to ski a -80-degree wind chill. So we bundled up like astronauts, went to the top of the mountain. Not many people up there. There were whiteout conditions. The wind was whipping around, and it was absolutely thrilling. The point of this is that we live for moments. Not everybody wants to ski a -80-degree weather. I understand that, but we live for our own moments. New Year's, holidays, grandchildren, children, anniversaries, celebrations. These are the elements that really make life fantastic. Intellectual medicine is bringing together the best of Orthodox medicine with the advances in science to keep you youthful and to aspire toward the 120-year lifespan. We believe that is within our reach as we speak. We believe that much of what is happening in Orthodox medicine does not contribute to vitality and good health. In many cases, it actually interferes with it. And we know that the biggest issues that are inhibiting our health are ignored by a lot of mainstream medicine. And we're going to talk about those big issues. The number one health issue that we have solved at Intellectual Medicine, and that Dr. Michael Souza at Intellectual Medicine of East Bay will now be bringing all of these modalities right to your backyard, everybody on the east side of the bridge. But looking at the macroscopic view, we know there's a connection between poverty and ill health. Everybody is aware of that association. And it's manifesting itself right now in our nation as we see disparities of lifespan depending on income. The death rate of cancer is higher in people of poverty than in people of middle income. So part of our solution, or part of what will help us, is to raise the economic standards for every person in the world, certainly every person in our country. And at Intellectual Medicine, we just like to draw a spotlight on some of these issues so we can reflect on them. Shannon, I was driving down the street and I saw a car in front of me and had a bumper sticker with one word on it that said resist. And I thought, that's interesting, like resist
negative.
What?
It's so negative.
So my son is sitting next to me. He's 15 years old. He said, resist what? Economic growth? The shrinking of ISIS? Like what tangible thing about the economy? Now we have this big tax bill, and I think this is worth reflecting on. because it's philosophically very different from other approaches. That is, the tax cut that's going to corporations is anticipating that there will be economic activity, that the vitality of America is based upon individuals who have the courage and vision to establish new endeavors and create jobs. We call those people engines. The engines are rare people. They work hard, they have vision, and by virtue of their energy, they can pull a lot of boxcars. There are engine people and there are boxcar people. And how do you know if you're one or the other? Well, if your name is at the bottom of the paycheck or your company's name is at the bottom of the paycheck, you're an engine. And if somebody else's name is at the bottom of that paycheck, you're a boxcar. And you need both. You know, boxcars without engines are useless, and engines without boxcars are useless. So you got to have both, and you can fulfill both roles. So nationally, we're betting on entrepreneurial endeavor and economic growth to surge the economy. Locally, we're betting on the government directing economic growth by taking your money and putting it where it thinks it should go. So instead of having a broad-based business tax cut, we're taking money from taxpayers and funneling it to specific businesses. That is, the government in Rhode Island feels as if they can pick where growth should happen. In addition, we are betting on education, or so we say, right? We're giving free tuition away to junior college. We're betting our economic future on giving money to mediocre students in some cases coming out of substandard high schools, and somehow they're going to turn into engines and they're going to pull the economy. I could be dead wrong, and I hope I am because I root for the economic growth of the state, but I have concerns when we look at our unfunded pension liability of $5.3 billion, and we look at the seeds we're planting today of future liability. The mandate for disability for municipal workers that is going to mushroom in the future with increasing liability and expense. Where's the money coming from? Does anybody out there think Rhode Island is not taxed enough? And yet we are all sitting and watching a new tax roll out in the form of the truck tax. Oh, it's not us, it's truckers. You know, don't ask for whom the bell tolls, folks. We're next. Too much tax, not enough growth. We need to look at the return on that. And we're going to tie this into your health and how it affects it. And we're going to talk about the thing in your refrigerator that can cause dementia and in your medicine cabinet that can kill you. Stay tuned with us. I'll be right back after this break. This is Dr. Petteruti at Intellectual Medicine. So, you just can't continue to layer tax upon tax and expect economic growth to happen. It'll be interesting to see this experiment. It's an experiment, but the experiment has been tried before. And every time there's been broad-based tax cut, it's been correspondingly increase in economic growth. Kennedy did it, Reagan did it, and now Trump is doing it. And if we can move aside the personal, look, I get it. He's not a real likable guy. This is not Ronald Reagan that everybody at least had an affinity for if they disagreed with his policy. Trump is interesting to me in that his personality is abrasive, but his policies are interesting and may well be successful. We have a 3% growth rate currently. If that goes to 4%, opinions are going to start to shift. Underneath that, however, is the well-being of the citizens. And I maintain that the income disparity is not the issue. I don't care if some dude in California is making $1 trillion. As long as I've got a roof over my head, a bowl of pasta in front of me, and my health. The quality of life of the bottom 10% of the population is as good a barometer of the health of a nation as any other measurement. It's more important than disparity. See, because disparity can be fixed if everybody's broke. That will eliminate economic disparity. They don't have economic disparity in places like North Korea, where everybody is crushed. So a disparity of income is good, inevitable, and the consequence of freedom in a free market. How do we fix the bottom? One of the great worries of the bottom 10% is always its access to health care. This system we have in America is absurdly broken beyond repair. They're tweaking around the edges of it. We're advocates of a single-payer system And I know that seems like a paradox. How can a free marketeer like me be an advocate for a single-payer system? A single-payer system is absolutely horrible, but it's better than what we have. What we have is immoral. We're depriving people of basic healthcare needs. We are having Wall Street make a profit on grandma's breast cancer, on the treatment of dementia. That can't be good. And we are enabling the consolidation of corporate medicine to rob individuals of their freedom. And a single payer would help to partly remedy some of those disparities. I know personally of people that are suffering in another minute, 1 minute. I gotta go back on air in a minute. We'll continue our private chat after the next break. Enjoy having you guys on our Facebook page.
So, Kim just said that's a great. We should encourage our young adults to pursue trades. We need electricians, plumbers.
Amen.
Yep. So true.
The average age of an electrician. Well, we'll get back to that in the next break, but that is spot on. Mm-hmm. Spot on. We could talk about that all day, but we got to get back to some of this medical stuff. It's too important. We haven't been to that bistro, have we? Why? We can talk. Oh, no.
Now, back to Intellectual Medicine with Dr. Petteruti. Call in now at 438-WPRO or 1-800-321-WPRO.
I am back. Tessa, you are the best, man. You remembered I love cake. Is cake, are they still hip? Are they still, like, cool?
I think that you used the word hip, so probably not.
What? Is hip not a word anymore?
I don't think so.
I can't get... You know what? I'm declaring hip a word again. I'm going to resurrect it. Thank you. Hip. We are a hip show here, Intellectual Medicine. So what's in your refrigerator that could kill? Well, let's talk about this concept, and we'll get back to the death by refrigerator in a moment. Precision medicine is the buzzword in the world of healthcare. Precision medicine refers to drilling down the individual on a DNA level and trying to analyze DNA in a manner that can align it with treatment of disease states. This wave of research and this philosophy of healthcare is brand new. The dream is someday everybody's genetic code will be analyzed. You will drill down the specific genetic code of each individual, and you will link that to treatments and screening based upon their genetic risk. Sad news about precision medicine and the DNA pursuit. They're chasing the wrong thing. The issue, human beings are complex. Drilling down the DNA is simplistic in its concept. I maintain, and we at Intellectual maintain, a whole body approach. Furthermore, we maintain a body environmental interface. That is, 80% of our health and our longevity is driven not by your DNA, but by the environment in which you live, both the external environment at large and the internal environment of your own body. You may have DNA that is predisposing you toward heart disease, and you will never have that heart disease if you pursue the environmental balance between the internal and external environment. That is, maintaining the principles of good health. That's not very sexy, though, folks. There are no great big machines. There's no great proprietary interest. There's no great profit that is driving your best health. This morning at Intellectual Medicine of West Bay, a small group of people will be meeting to continue their journey toward living at their ideal body weight. That issue underlies most of what is dragging down the health of America. Medically relevant weight. The pursuit of treatment has been ignored by mainstream medicine. Many of you listening are contemplating a New Year's resolution, right? What's number one resolution? I want to lose some weight. I want to get in shape. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lose weight. Folks, just stop already. A temporary treatment like a diet for a chronic medical condition like obesity is a complete folly. We know that diet and exercise does not work for weight loss. We know that diets don't work. Well, then what does? Well, intellectual medicine has applied our principles to this complex problem and have arrived at a success by virtue of linking together the right combination of pharmacology with the right support from supplements and nutraceuticals, with ongoing nutritional behavioral change, without diet, but with a lifestyle shift. That approach, in most cases, I'd say nearly all, cannot be achieved strictly through the spirit of your own willpower. It requires a partnership with a medical entities, and intellectual medicine is one of the few in the country that have put all this together. Shannon, it's one of the reasons I'm most excited about Dr. Souza and intellectual medicine of East Bay. Proximity and the location in relation to where people live is critical to get this healthcare out there. And as of January 8th, when East Bay opens up, Rhode Island will have established itself as a leader in the pursuit of extended lifespan and improved health. Our goal is to have our state become a paradigm of great health in a preventative level for all of our patients. So what's in the refrigerator? How does all this tie together? Diet soda, folks. Artificially sweetened beverages are a pox on our health. An article in the magazine called Stroke, that's a magazine dedicated to the research and publication of things related to stroke, found that the risk of stroke and dementia increased with the use of artificially sweetened soft drinks. We also know that artificially sweetened soft drinks do nothing to help you lose weight. Absolutely nothing. They work on the brain in a manner that stimulates its sweet receptor and creates cravings. It's a terrible product. Why in the world would anybody drink it? They think it's saving calories. They think it's helping their health, when in fact, it's doing just the opposite. So please, if you're going to drink soda, I don't know why anybody would drink soda. Did you know that the pH of Coca-Cola is around 2.2? It's that acidic that they use it in some places as a cleaning substance to get rid of corrosion, and we're drinking this stuff? You're better off drinking regular sugared soda if you're going to drink such a horrible beverage. At least it won't cause dementia. Now, what about the thing in your medicine cabinet that can increase your risk of death from heart attack? That's right. It's your Motrin, your ibuprofen, your naproxen, your naproxen. These drugs, even using them for as little as 1 week, have been correlated with an increased risk of heart attack. Now, think about who uses it. Middle-aged guys with arthritic knees, older women with an arthritic back. There are folks that take these drugs every day. It's a problem. What do we do for pain? The opioids are a problem. The nonsteroidals increase heart attack risk. Well, another study looked at a supplement called chondroitin. Now, many of you are aware of chondroitin. It's often put in a combination with glucosamine, and it's been promoted as a remedy, that is a treatment for arthritis. For decades now. Shannon, I started taking this product 20 years ago when my knees started to corrode. Unlike nonsteroidals, it has been shown to potentially help rebuild and stimulate the health of your cartilage. And now a study has come out that compares it to Celebrex, a very popular, very powerful nonsteroidal drug, showing that it has equivalent power without side effect. In fact, in the Annals of Rheumatologic Disease, they declared chondroitin to be the standard of care. Good for them. This is a great example of Orthodox medicine finally getting it right. How long, folks, have we heard that supplements don't work? Stop wasting your money. You have expensive urine, and oops, that supplement actually worked. Well, sure it did. The science was there for a long time, but remember, quality counts. And the studies on chondroitin cannot be extrapolated across the board. So now we've got diet soda causing dementia. We've got nonsteroidals causing heart attacks. We have Orthodox medicine without a remedy to these fundamental problems. And lo and behold, we have a new standard for blood pressure. The number has been lowered to 130/80. Congratulations. Half of you in America now have hypertension. What a dilemma. What a direction we're being pushed into. You can see all this, right? What's going to happen next? Well, Orthodox medicine doesn't believe that you have any ability to change your lifestyle or control your body weight, which is a core element of hypertension. So everybody's going to get on blood pressure drugs. Isn't that going to be great, Shannon? A multi-trillion-dollar shift in the standard. We're focusing on the wrong stuff. Half the nation, more than half the nation, is overweight or obese. We need to get at the core elements. Look at what's driving this. And underneath it as well, we need to talk about cancer. What's happening with the rate of cancer death, and what can we do to turn that tide? What elements are bearing on that, both environmentally, and why does Rhode Island have one of the highest per capita cancer rates in the nation? So we've got arthritic knees, you've got hypertension, you've got the new blood pressure standard. All three of these entities can be addressed by application of intellectual medicine in a focused manner. Nobody gets to 120 with their best health living at a dangerous weight. That excess adiposity increases risk of dementia. It increases risk of cancer, 14 different kinds of cancers so far. It increases risk of pain. I can't tell you how many folks, Shannon, have gone through the first cycle of weight loss and reported that the pain went away because the inflammation went down. It's hard work, folks. Do not waste your time pursuing pathways of treatment that are known to fail. The relapse rate for diets is 100%. You look 1 year after a diet is completed, 60% of the people are back at their base weight. 3 years later, 99.5%, nearly all, are back at their base weight or even greater. So you need, folks, the opportunity to consider a better pathway forward. Now, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the cancer rates and about a new warning from the FDA regarding MRIs and gadolinium, and tying those together into our intellectual medicine pursuits. But first, from the Revolution Softwash News Center, Doug Lizette with some of today's headlines. Doug, what's happening out there?
Show will go on in New York, even in the face of another blast of
All right, good timing. Thank you. So we were just talking about before we left. Oh, I know, the trades, right? So the average age of an electrician, let me turn it. It's as low as it gets. I'm sorry, there's an overhead background noise, folks. You got to bear with. The average age of an electrician is 54 years old. People are not pursuing it because I believe in part it's put down by mainstream educators. It's the Votech kids. It's the kids that aren't smart enough to understand Beowulf. So we're going to jam them into Votech because they're not that bright. Nonsense. How many liberal arts majors do we need clogging up the highways, getting in the way at the supermarket? Hey, look, how many philosophy majors are out there, jobless? The point is not to denigrate higher education. A developed mind is always worth pursuing. But you don't have to go to college to get that developed mind. You have to read. You have to have intellectual curiosity. And there's no reason we can't do both. You know what I'd love to see, Shannon? Here's what I'd love to see. I want to see Harvard University have a Votech school buried right into it. So you can go to Harvard and you can study medieval history. At the same time, you're learning heating and air conditioning. Like, why not? Mm-hmm. Who says that you can't be an intellectually enlightened plumber? Mm-hmm. Who says that you can't be a well-educated, erudite electrician? Who says that there's this disparity? I don't say it, but society at large does. We were at an open house for the high school in our neighborhood, East Greenwich High School. It's a very good high school. How do we define a good high school? The percentage of kids that go to college. Why do we use that metric? I don't know. It's easy. A good high school puts kids in college. That's rather limited, don't you think? So remember that, Shan. First of all, the kids on the tour were all the National Honor Society kids, right? The traditionally strong, what we define as strong academic kids. They pointed down a hallway And they said, down there's a vote tech. Yeah, that was about it. That was the extent of the tour. You know, I want to see the kid in automotive repair leading that tour. I want to see the workers. You know, they've talked now about infrastructure in America, and we're going to be putting more money into it. The question is, who the hell's going to do the work, right? Who's going to put the shovel in the ground? It's an issue when we're not training people for the right sorts of things. Everybody's into high tech. Well, guess what? We all can't be computer programmers. And we're all not going to go into biomedicine technology, sit in a lab, and look at a microscope for our living. It's not happening. There will always be a need for educated, competent workers in our culture. You know, you have a trade, it's a beautiful thing, and it's hard to acquire. So we need to be destigmatizing that. You know, we need to be elevating its status, improving quality of life for people in general. I know I had a lot of classmates in college. College right now has become so watered down. It's what they call credential inflation. It used to be that you could acquire, well, let's take a firefighter or police officer. Those were good jobs you got right out of high school, right? Smart high school kid with integrity and a good background could pursue those jobs. Now, you're going to go to college and get a degree in criminal justice. You're going to get a master's degree. You're going to, what? So you can, does that make you a better firefighter, a better police officer? Are those individuals as well trained and as effective as they are they that much better than what they were 40 years ago when these people were going directly in from high school? We have really neglected high school in many ways, Shan. And I maintain high school's more important than college. You show me a kid with a good high school resume, and I'll show you a kid that's going to be a success. So, okay, about a minute. So in Rhode Island, we've decided that giving away college to kids is going to help fuel the future growth of the country or the state. I don't buy it. You know, welfare is welfare no matter how you hang it. You know, we used to have a scholarship program in our weight loss treatment program. We used to have a scholarship option. We pay 100% of the tuition for people. We thought it'd be a great thing to do. You know, help people that can't fully afford it. It was a dismal failure. The people that got the scholarships didn't attend. It was terrible. We learned something. You got to have a little skin in the game. You got to have a little commitment. You got to feel a little pain in order to gain full value.
Now,
We're going back.
With Dr. Petteruti. Calling now at 438-WPRO or 1-800-321-WPRO.
Hey everybody, we are back. We're back here at Intellectual Medicine. We're on the cusp of celebrating our third anniversary, Shannon. That is Intellectual Medicine's third anniversary.
3 years.
Right? Remember we launched this?
Oh, I do.
We were kind of alone in the space at that time. And do you remember all the people that wished us success?
That one person?
It was remarkable. Well, you know what? Anytime you do something that is outside of the mainstream, the first reaction will be resistance. What do they think they're doing? What's intellectual medicine? Why should we bother? Aren't things better the way that they are? You know, I saw a woman yesterday in the office, Shannon, and it was a classic presentation we see all the time, where they look at the potential for changing the way that they age. And she had a dual thought. One, her mother died young from cancer. Two, she had a grandmother live to be 100. And she looked at both templates and decided that she was really favoring her grandmother's trajectory. And my hope is that she's correct. But there's another dynamic of following that trajectory. Do you want to age like grandma and grandpa? Do you want to age like every human being has aged for the past 1,000,000 years? And do you want to ignore the advances in anti-aging therapy that have made middle age extend well into the 80s at this point and can preserve youthful vitality maybe indefinitely? That's kind of exciting. So at age now 58, I feel as vital, if not more so, than I did at age 40. I can do all the same things that I enjoyed doing back then, despite navigating with an arthritic knee. I like to look ahead and look at my life and think about it in those 100-year terms. I like the guy who called the other week and was concerned about would his money last long enough. It's kind of a nice problem to have if you're living that long with that much great health, because we know the number one cause of bankruptcy and financial strain in America is medical expense. But what about this aging arc? You know, the traditional form of aging, you shrink, your skeletons absorb, your muscles shrink, you gain fat, you lose physical energy, mental energy, sexual energy, your genitalia atrophy. These are the signs of normal aging. Well, who wants that when we have the ability to alter it? It's more than just doing the bioidentical hormones. That's a component of it. So at Intellectual Medicine, we have made living the 120-year lifespan in a youthful, energetic, clear-minded fashion our objective for all of our patients. And how do we get there? There are 4 elements, I think, really to intellectual medicine. 1, we do have a medical weight loss program as a component of what we offer. That is a foundation piece. Somebody asked the other day, God, there's so much to anti-aging and life extension. Where should I begin? Well, the answer is always you begin at the thing that matters the most to you, but the weight is a primary focus. The other element is replacing the hormones that are missing. This is so fundamentally logical that it baffles me that anyone would think otherwise. If you went to your doctor and you said, you know, doc, I'm feeling kind of tired, my hair is thinning, I'm constipated, my mind is a little foggy, and the doctor did blood tests and said, you know what, Mr. Jones, your thyroid is low. And you would think, great, you've discovered a solution to the problem. Now, all I need is to go on thyroid replacement hormone and I'll be fine. But the doctor then turns to you and says, but that's normal for your age. Your thyroid is supposed to fail. This is natural. We don't want to interfere with what is natural because giving you thyroid hormone, well, we just don't know if that's the right thing to do. That's absurd. Just as absurd as another hormone that is fading for all of us, testosterone. In women, estrogen, progesterone in both genders, DHEA or dihydroepiandrosterone and pregnenolone, among the hormones that are fading, and at some point, yes, your growth hormone. These hormones are produced by a gland just like the thyroid. They've been stigmatized. They're not deemed worthy of replacement because all they do is address your quality of life issues. Well, by golly, who wouldn't want those issues addressed? Given a choice, wouldn't you rather live with that full vitality? Orthodox medicine has done a disservice to an entire generation of men and women by putting down and amplifying the negative aspects of this without embracing its potential. I think part of the issue is that insurance-based medicine doesn't want to pay the tab. They do not want to pay, folks, for your preventative health. I've heard this before. Wouldn't it make more sense for insurance companies to pay to keep me healthy than to pay to treat my disease? The sad answer to the question is no. It makes more sense for them to ignore you until you're sick. They make more money that way. If you have 1,000 people and 100 of them are going to get sick, you're better off not preventing the 1,000 but treating the 100. Why? Because half of them are going to die before they can really achieve any treatment level of success. And insurance companies know that you're going to change insurers every few years. So why should they invest in a 20-year return? So no, folks, preventative medicine does not pay. And it will never be supported by Orthodox medicine because nobody's making money. Hospitals, specialists, doctors with equipment and probes and surgery and needle biopsies and MRIs and CAT scans, they don't make any money when you stay healthy. Chronically ill, morbidly obese, hormonally underfed is a great state for the American population to be in, to maximize profit, for the Orthodox medical establishment, the pharmaceutical industry, as well as the food industry. All these things, look, they don't get in a little room and conspire actively. They are simply following the principle of following their own financial best interest. And there's no financial interest for Orthodox medicine to support advanced, successful treatments like intellectual medicine, right? The weight loss element, well, unless you're getting surgery, no hospital is going to profit. The hormonal replacement anti-aging therapy, well, that keeps you young, vital, and healthy, so there's not a lot of motive for that. What about the free radical neutralization? This is a concept that is a primary element of accelerated aging, and that is free radicals creating a low-grade inflammation throughout the body, sometimes described as neuroinflammation. Inflammation of the cells in your brain corrodes brain health. What we can do about that is neutralize those free radicals with the proper use of thoughtful supplements. And in many cases, the use of intravenous support can be an asset in neutralizing free radicals. But guess what, folks? None of this stuff is terribly patentable. Nobody's going to make a bucket of money. We spoke last week, you remember that study, Shannon, the people with sepsis getting high-dose vitamin C in the hospital had a phenomenally lower death rate. Phenomenally lower death rate. For a couple $100 of IV vitamin C, these people that had a horrible infection that we call sepsis with an incredible death rate had a profound benefit. Why hasn't that been rushed to market? Because it's not a drug. If it were, it'd be on the front page of the New York of Time magazine as a breakthrough. Likewise with heart disease, a chelation therapy that you and I offer that is available at Dr. Souza's Center in East Bay, IV therapy with high-dose vitamins, supplements, calcium, EDTA, pulling out toxic heavy metals, and has the potential to significantly reduce heart attack and death rates, as well as protect the brain. These are the technologies that are just not being promoted through Orthodox medicine. That's why we exist. We exist in parallel with Orthodox medicine. Many of our brilliant and empathic colleagues in Orthodox medicine recognize these limitations, but just don't have the range of time and resources to deal with them. So when we come back, we'll be concluding. I want to talk a little bit about the cancer death rates, what's been happening with them, the top causes of cancer death, and what you could do about those. When we come back after the break, you're listening to Intellectual Medicine with Dr. Petteruti. There's so much wrong about Orthodox medicine, so much money being spent with so little impact. We wait until something happens and we get crazy and we go nuts treating it. I was talking to this woman the other day about her, she has very dense breast tissue. And she said, they were torturing me. Repeated mammograms, ultrasounds, biopsies, the stress, worrying about it. So I finally said, the heck with it, I'm not going to do them anymore. So, well, good for you. There's really not any strong evidence that mammograms do anything to help you live longer. Yeah, they might find cancer a little bit sooner than it otherwise would be discovered, but there's no compelling evidence that finding it earlier will make you live longer afterward. In fact, quite the opposite. The biggest studies done in this arena have found that the outcome for breast cancer is the same with or without mammogram. Now that is a little counterintuitive. And, oh, excuse me. Hello. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. It makes me feel good. Did you hear that? Yeah. She was just saying.
No, we're talking about mammograms.
Oh, mammograms. Yeah. Thanks for bringing me back to the topic. So here's the issue with mammograms. A high rate of false positives, shadows that make you nervous that are nothing. When they do the biopsies themselves are often inaccurate. There was a study looking at how tissue specimens are handled, and they found a big issue is how the tissue gets from the operating room to the lab. The entire medical establishment is contingent upon some dude with a cart pushing it down the hallway. You know, if he stops to buy a Coke on the way, if he's chatting with his buddy, if that tissue specimen isn't properly handled, your results are going to be skewed, and you'll never know it. The doctor will never know it. So you get a lot of these false positive rates, a lot of fear. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, the Women's Breast Health Center. Maybe we're chasing the wrong thing. Back it up a step. What is causing the cancer? What can we do? Let's put our money into changing the things that are making us get cancer. Obesity, toxic environment, heavy metals. Orthodox medicine never talks about this stuff. Never. But they'll spend billions chasing shadows. And so mammograms, here's my thought on it. If you're a lean, fit woman, monthly self-breast exam is what I recommend. Now, that's against Orthodox recommendations, and I understand that. If you're obese and you've got double D sized breasts, the mammogram may have more value. Now we're going to talk about cancer.
Call in now at 438-WPRO or 1-800-321-WPRO.
We are back. We are back. Intellectual Medicine here with Dr. Petteruti. Shannon, do you have any New Year's resolutions? Is that on your agenda?
No, I never do them.
Well,
I need stuff that I can check off.
Okay.
You know, and it seems good at the time, and then you don't do it. So
yeah.
I feel like there's no. If I want to do something, I do it.
So a resolution, really, I agree with you. By the way, it's an artificial mark in time. I don't have any. I don't have any New Year's resolutions. In part because I get overwhelmed at all the things that I need to be doing better. I'm not sure where to start, but I guess it's at the beginning. Okay, I have an objective. Folks, I am in the midst of writing a book called The Intellectual Medicine 120, How to Live 120 Youthful Years. That book will be finished. I'm declaring it now live on the radio. It will be done no later than the 1st of April. That's tax date. And it'll be ready for publication by the summer. So you can read it and you can understand in detail the elements of living longer, living younger. Now we need to talk a little bit. This is good news, right? I have good news on the cancer front. The cancer death rate has gone down. It's gone down for the past 20 years. Now, folks, there's a big asterisk floating over my head as I speak, so hang in there with me because the good news has a deeper story. And the statistics on this are that 20% increased survival rate for all forms of cancer. But, you know, it was Mark Twain, Shannon, who said there are 3 types of lies. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So these cancer survival statistics, I maintain, are artificially inflated because they're looking at 5-year survival. Now, I get it. 5 years is a valuable chunk of time for any human being. And in fact, we have made some inroads into certain forms of cancer. But by and large, the way we're approaching cancer is fully inadequate. 5-year survival doesn't mean as much when you're 41. And we know, we spoke about this recently, that women with a stage 1 breast cancer, that means an isolated tumor less than 2 centimeters, surgically removed, no lymph nodes, evidence, no cancer, right, Shannon? You hear that phrase, 5 years, I am cancer-free. No, you're not. You're tumor-free. Cancer cells, we maintain, still lurk. And what's missing, one of the things that is missing, is secondary prevention. So you've had cancer, you went through surgery, maybe chemo, maybe radiation therapy. They pat you on the back and say, we'll see you in 3 months, we're going to do scans. Well, guess what? Scans never prevented anybody's cancer. So what are you doing to stop it from coming back? The sad answer is, too often, nothing. Now, this is not the fault of your oncologist. They are swamped just keeping up with the active treatment of advanced cancers. This falls into the realm of complementary care that we offer through intellectual medicine to support the work done through conventional oncology. We know that there's a 10% distant metastatic rate for those 5-year survivors of stage 1 breast cancer. 1 out of 10. Too often you hear of that poor woman who beat the breast cancer when she was 43, only to die of severe metastatic disease at 58. Well, that death doesn't register in the cancer statistic survival because it happened beyond 5 years. We need a better approach. So part of that approach is secondary prevention. What am I talking about? What makes cancer happen? Now, that is a complicated answer to that question, and the reality is we don't know absolutely. But it may be a linking together of various risks. One, environmental pollutants. There's carcinogens everywhere, and I'll tie it into that power plant they want to put up in Burrillville. Rhode Island is more dependent on fossil fuel than any other state in the Union. We're tied with West Virginia. Texas has 40% of its energy from reproducible sources. Texas, the capital of oil, has more reproducible energy than Rhode Island. We need more reproducible energy. We need to stop funding toxic, cancer-causing, energy-producing, belching plants like the one they want to put in Burrillville. I'm tired of this nonsense that we don't have better alternatives. We must force the issue by compelling innovation. So environmental toxins. Did you know that 1 out of 6 homes in the Providence water system is fed by lead pipes? What are we, Rome? This is ancient Rome. We have lead pipes in the road? How come this is not a front burner issue? Because we're too busy being broke as a state. We need more tax money, so we can pave the roads? Are you kidding me? Mismanagement of state funds leads to corrosion of public health. And that's what's been happening over decades. And it drives me batty. So we've got toxicity. What can you do about it, though, right? You're not going to go out there and dig up the road. You're not going to go out there and cap the smokestacks. Well, certainly looking at your internal environment. We believe that everybody should be tested for heavy metal. We have found an extraordinary level of cadmium in the patients we have tested. Lead is ubiquitous. Lead corrodes the brain. It increases heart disease risk. Cadmium is a major carcinogen. Mercury we have found, aluminum. These are brain toxins. The brain, upon insult, will delay its consequence for up to 20 years. You get whacked in the brain as a football player when you're 28. You don't get demented at 30. You get demented at 50. So we need to know what's in our body so we can address those toxins. We've been talking a lot today about obesity and about excess body weight. Don't take false comfort, folks, by standing on a scale and saying, I'm the same weight I was in high school. Well, guess what? You're the same weight, but your chest shrank and your belly expanded. Your percent body fat is what matters. So people have said to me, my BMI is fill in the blank. BMI is an antiquated metric that does not have significant medical utility. Percent body fat. You know what's better than the body mass index or the BMI, Shannon? Take a tape measure, put it around your waist. If you're a woman and it's above 35 inches, a man above 40, you got problems. That's increasing your risk of cancer. So secondary prevention, maybe even primary prevention, get to your best body weight. Nutrition matters. Inflammation will cause increased risk of cancer relapse. At Intellectual Medicine, we measure for inflammation. There are markers in your blood that can help us determine the degree of inflammation in your body. And if it's there, we need to cool it out, not only to prevent cancer, but to prevent dementia and heart disease. 80% of that which ails us is environmental. We're not going to dig through your genes and find a solution to some of these issues, heart disease and obesity. And we're not going to drug them into good health. Slamming people with more blood pressure drugs is not going to change the foundation pieces. So we need secondary prevention. Now, we advocate the use of high-dose intravenous vitamin C for the benefit of toxicity toward cancer cells, although it's not FDA approved, and although vitamin C is not a treatment for active cancer, it has been shown to be complementary and supportive of orthodox treatment by your oncologist, and it is extraordinarily safe. It causes no harm to your cells. And we're operating under a theory at Intellectual Medicine that once you are cancer-free, that is, your active phase of treatment has been completed, that an open-ended regimen of periodic intravenous vitamin C has the potential to alter the relapse rate. Now, that is an unproven theory, but we believe it to be worthy of consideration by the vast majority of cancer patients because it's inexpensive, it's safe, and it may afford benefit. And in the realm of intellectual medicine, we have to use evidence to inform our decision even before a final proof is in. Shannon, I don't know if what we're doing is going to make me live to be 120, but the evidence supports that. The evidence supports that living at my best weight, replacing my hormones, detoxifying my body, supports that my brain has a better chance of staying crisp right up until my old age, and my old age has a chance of being youthful, and that lifespan has a chance to extend outwards beyond 100 to 120, and I'm plunking my bet in that arena with a tempered, rational, information-based approach. Now, at the end of January, we're going to be going down to the George Washington University Medical Center to study even newer and more advanced approaches to managing cancer. We'll be talking about that in future radio shows, referring to mistletoe therapy. It's a very compelling and interesting supplement that is now being used in some centers as a complementary support for cancer treatment. And we'll be sharing that information with you as we move forward. This is why we exist. We're here, folks, to bring scientific advances to you right now, to bring that information to you as we speak, so that we can put it together in a manner that can treat difficult to address entities, and we can look at the dynamic of aging itself as a modifiable life event. The greatest risk factor for just about any disease known to man is age. So let's treat the age, shall we? Let's stay young. Why not? So our resolution to you for 2018 is to live young, pursue the 120-year lifespan. Join Dr. Souza, myself, Shannon, and our happy troop as we expand intellectual medicine to every corner of southeastern New England. This has been fun, folks. Everybody stay bundled up. I am Dr. Steve Petteruti. We are Intellectual Medicine. We're here every Saturday from 8 to 9, talking about ways to keep you young, warning you about issues in Orthodox medicine that can cause you harm, and every now and then chatting a little bit about politics and economy. Folks, I am Dr. Steve Petteruti. We are wishing you 120 youthful years.